Hey everyone, we are live. It's always funny to start these off because you don't know if anyone's watching yet. Give them a few seconds. While I'm waiting to see if anyone jumps on, plus some of you guys might be, hi Christina, some of you guys might be jumping on and seeing this after the recording, so I'm not going to spend too much time waiting in the beginning, but let me introduce myself. I'm Christy Bradley. I am located in Ashland, Virginia. We are about 30 minutes north of Richmond, Virginia, and about 2 hours south of Washington, D.C. So today we have a snow day. We have, I think, one of our biggest storms in 10 years, they said. So I am home with my kids today, and so I'm in my son's room. So this one, it's not the most ideal setting, and it looks like my camera is doing funny things. Hopefully it will work. But it had the best light right now, so hopefully that will work out. I am here today. It's really doing weird things. Let me just make sure. There we go. Okay. I think it's okay now. So I am going to talk today about Ambassador Rep Spokesmodel Program, the best way to launch. Me personally, I call mine ambassadors, and I'll talk a little bit about my choice on that and why you might choose a different name or why you might choose a specific name for your program. Let me give you a little bit of my background. I started specializing in high school seniors in 2013, and I opened my brick and mortar studio about 3 years ago and run what I call my ambassador program. So I decided that when I wanted to specialize in seniors and I wanted to have a rep program, and at the time I called them spokesmodels, that I really wanted it to have a purpose. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what that is for me. I have been in business since 2011, really fully, 2013 for seniors specializing, and I do have a brick and mortar studio. So that's kind of a little bit of my background. So I'll just jump right in. I want to tell you the 5 things that I think are really important, or what I've learned over the years for launching a program and the success of your launch and the continuation of your program. So the very, very first step, the very first thing is to plan. It's really, really important that you have a plan and that you have a goal in mind, because and some people, everyone's different. Let me just say that first. Everybody's different. Every program can be different. The person could run, 2 people could run 2 programs that are kind of set around the same ideals, and they can be very different because you are your business. So the tips that I'm going to give you today also really heavily weigh on how you implement them and your personality and what's important to you, because that's going to really shine through. So planning and what your vision is and what your goal is for your program is the very first most important step. So I knew that what I wanted to do with my program was I wanted it to be very purposeful, and I wanted it to impact our community. I have a teaching background, and I wanted to kind of combine my love for teaching with my business. And so I kind of run a program that's like a mentoring / community service based program. So the first thing that you want to do is plan it out. Sit down and say, what is my ultimate goal? What kind of purpose does my program need to have? And that purpose can be, I want paying clients. That purpose can be, I wanted to be able to do lots of creative shoots. For me, that purpose was I wanted to have a community service-based program where I could mentor my girls, and of course include some of those other fun things as well. But that's the core of my program. So you really need to set your goal and decide what is the most important thing to you, because if you believe in your program and you have a plan and a goal and a vision, it makes your decision making from there on out much easier. So plan, set a goal, what is your vision? And then, so mine was, I wanted to do a program that was community service and mentorship type based program. So you've decided, I don't know if you have a program already, if you've tried a program, it didn't work, if you have never had a program and you're saying, what's this, senior rep, ambassador, spokesmodel programs, what's going on with this? What do I do? Or what does this mean? All of those people, all of those are great questions. So once you decide what your goal and your plan is, and then you need to market it. And honestly, I market 100% on social media. My business is really, really, really supported strongly by word of mouth. So most of my marketing is on Instagram and Facebook. And those two platforms for me work really well. One, because my target market for the girls, and I even photograph boys, and I have some boys who are interested this year in my ambassador program, but they're on Instagram. The moms and sometimes even the dads are on Facebook. So that's kind of a dual market. I used to print out marketing materials on cards and put them at stores, and I got a couple, but I didn't feel like the monetary investment was turned around. That might be different for you. If you have a place that you have high traffic of your seniors, then print out some 5x7. I usually do 5x7 cards from Miller's, and they ship super fast, so that's awesome. And put them out at the local coffee shop where your teens are hanging out, or partner with a boutique. My first year, I partnered with Altered State, and they were fantastic because they were partnering with us for our first photo shoot. They let me put cards at their counter, and I did get a couple girls from some new schools because they were in a different area than I was usually marketing to. It can't hurt, but you do want to kind of evaluate where you want to put your efforts and your money. For me, running some kind of marketing things on Instagram and really focusing on spreading the word. I do have an amazing group of girls who sing my praises and the program's praises, and word of mouth has luckily worked really well for me, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's just, you have to kind of see what works for you. If you're brand new, definitely partner, get your face into the schools. Going into the yearbook classes has been something that I've really loved to do, and I go in and talk to them about what it is to take a good picture, or how to take a good picture, not manual settings, but composition and light and how to interact with people. And I do fun games with them, and of course talk about my ambassador program. So after you've planned and you have your goal, then you need to start putting it out there. Having a goal of what your program means helps get that message out better. The very first question is, what is an ambassador? What is a spokesmodel? And if you don't have a goal, if you don't know what your vision is, then you have a hard time kind of answering that question. So make sure you kind of have that mission statement sort of in your head. So for me, marketing is Instagram and Facebook. I create an excitement. So when I know my launch is going to happen, I make sure that I tease it and say, a few days, 10 days until applications open, what are your questions? Instagram has that great question feature this year, so you can interact. On Facebook, I usually create an event. I haven't done that yet this year, but I am going to be creating an event. You can invite people and ask your current team, if you have one, to invite moms, dads, and the actual seniors, because remember, we're dual marketing. We need the parents on board and we need the seniors on board. Usually it's the seniors who are the ones who kind of discover you and they want to do this and then they talk to their parents about it. But I do have cases where the parents have discovered me through their friend or through an event that I've done, and then they talk to their senior about it. So you have two marketing platforms that two people that you're trying to reach. Let me look at my notes for a second. So as far as marketing, if you are new, reach out into your community, work with some local businesses, coffee shops or boutiques where your seniors are. When I was first starting, I even did meet and greets at the local ice cream shop. So I had gift cards. I think I bought, 10 $5 gift cards. And I said, meet and greet, we're going to be at this shop. Come and meet, ask questions. I had some stuff out. This was before I had a studio. So you don't have to have a studio. There's plenty of opportunity, amazing opportunity to partner with local businesses. And if you shout from the rooftops, I'm going to be here, free ice cream for the first 10 people who show up, or 5 people, have a ice cream social, do a giveaway. All of those things are awesome ideas because they just want to, the more you interact with them and they feel like they know you, the better chance that they're going to want to work with you and be interested. So you have to be yourself. You can't pretend to be someone because you want them to know who they're going to be working with. So that's a really good way to get into the community if you don't have a studio or if you're brand new. Of course, if you've had a team, use those girls, ask them, what are you guys doing? What did you like the best? Interviewing them, but getting them to interact is an amazing way to bring people in because the girls want to know what their friends are doing. So definitely get them involved. And that kind of takes me into my next tip. So I have plan, a vision, and what your goal is. Market, make sure you're marketing before you even plan to launch, and then keeping the excitement up and throughout. Let me actually step back a little bit. So what I do is I launch this time of year. So I typically in the past hadn't launched until like the week of Christmas because they were off on school break. So they were home and they had time to kind of sit down and fill out an application. I do have an application that they fill out, and then I invite them to meetings with their parents to get all of the information. This year, I decided to open it up a bit earlier. I wanted to kind of see if I had it open, if it changed what was happening. And I'm still in that process. So I actually opened up in November this year, and then I will close January 4th, so right after New Year. And that gives a good time to still have them over break. It's been open for a while now, and I've gotten those girls that were waiting for it to open, and they're in, and I've gotten great response. But it also gives me some time to kind of to have it open for a while and get those people in who aren't on top of it, because there's always last minute people. So I'll do a push toward the end of it. So right after Christmas, the last week before they go back to school. I'm also visiting a yearbook class right before the deadline, and I'll be talking, that's at one of my target schools, and pushing it out. So you kind of strategically want to plan what you're doing with that. I'll have to get back to you guys and let you know if it worked better, what there was any differences. Right now, I'm kind of online with the same application interest. Usually, the very last 2, 3, 4 days, they kind of come in droves because they realize that it's a deadline. So I will see if it happens when it's been open longer. That's up to you. Do you want it open longer and you want to kind of keep track? There's a million and one ways that you could do applications. I do them where I keep them open, and then I announce the acceptances and the meetings after the deadline. Or maybe sometimes I'll do something like the day of the deadline to kind of drum up a few more interest at the very last minute. I have a couple friends who do rolling acceptance. So when they get people that they're interested in, then they accept them right away. So they don't have to wait for anything. They know like that they've been accepted, and that's total preference. So it just depends on kind of what you want to do. Also, urgency, especially with teens, is good. So if you want to do a shorter application time, that might work. But again, I tried something different this year, and we'll see at the end how it kind of worked out. But then, so you've got your applications out. I use 17 Hats. It's been amazing. I create a lead form that I put in my profiles and I put out on Facebook and do an email newsletter. And then when they click that, it generates a lead for me and sends them the questionnaire. So they're already in my system. I started that last year and it saved me so much time. So it's really wonderful. And then when they get the questionnaire back, it just has some questions I can answer questions about what that includes in the comments, or if you guys have questions later. I honestly could talk for hours and hours and hours. So I'm trying to stay a little bit focused on the 5 tips and kind of how I organize stuff. But I know I could talk for hours on what has worked and what hasn't worked and how it changes through the year. So once they have applied, they're in my queue, and then we go and I look over them. I honestly don't even look at much of them until a few days before the deadline, because I found I can kind of get into like a rabbit hole of it. So I don't even look at them much until the end of the deadline and closer to the deadline. But it's really important that you're interacting and you're creating things to interact, and that you are putting yourself out there and telling them who you are. They want to work with someone that they know, someone that they can talk to. I love hanging out with them. I love helping them. I love mentoring them. I love wishing them happy birthday and sharing their celebrations and when they get into college. And those are all natural things that I do. So I do those things, but you have to kind of figure out what works for you. I definitely encourage you to be yourself, because you're going to attract people that you enjoy working with as well. So one of the ways that I reach out or create interaction this year is that I created a graphic, and I do keep everything kind of branded. So every year I have a graphic that's consistent through all of my advertising, that I post on Instagram and on Facebook, and then now Insta Stories. So I created one that says, apply now, has my name on it, and then I've posted it. But I also sent it to all of my ambassadors from this year, and they were posting it on their stories. And I didn't require it. I don't like to require stuff because I want it to be genuine, and hopefully that they want to share all those things. So what I did was I created a graphic, I posted it on my page, and then I went ahead and I sent it to my girls. I have 33 ambassadors this year. Went ahead and sent to them. I said, hey, you guys, we know we're recruiting for 2020. If you feel like sharing on your Insta story, here's a graphic you can share. Tag me, send them over to my account. I would love it if you guys want to share. And most of them did, and they sent, and some of them even had like super cute things to say, super sweet things to say. They had cute little graphics, and they shared them on their story. And I did that one day a couple days ago, and and just in probably that one day got a bunch more applications in. So I even had a girl who applied and said, hey, can I share that graphic? She's someone who's interested for the next class. So so that's a good sign for her, because it means that she's really invested and she wants to do those things. What's important is that you provide information for them. They are teenagers. They don't know what you want them to say. They don't know what you want them to do. They don't necessarily know how you want them to put things out there. So the best thing is when you reach out to your current and who you're trying to attract now, be very clear on what you want them to do. So here's a graphic, share it, shout from the rooftops. What was your favorite thing about being a KBP ambassador this year? And usually they want to do that. But if you just say, hey guys, will you guys share about our program? It's like deer in headlights. They don't know what you want them to do. So give them the tools to share for you, and they probably will. So that's one thing that I definitely learned. So socialize, interact, create tools for them to be able to support your marketing and the information that you want to get out there. So let's see. So after that, so I have, we're going through the timeline again. So I have teased that I'm opening my applications. I have had a goal. I know exactly what my vision, who I'm looking for, and what that vision is going to be. And then I'm marketing that. I'm including my current ambassadors if you have them. And then really kind of amping up that when it gets to the deadline by creating graphics or messages that they can use to join in that marketing across the platforms to reach people that maybe you wouldn't reach. So once that's gone down, and now you have your, I'll tell you a little bit of kind of how I wrap things up and what I do with my program and before we get started. So once they have been accepted, we get our applications, I say that they apply. Honestly, I don't really turn people away. I do look very closely at their social media. I do read their applications. I do take into consideration if it's genuine, if they really will be a part of the program. I put a lot into my program. I think I forgot to bring in my thing that I wanted to show you guys, but I give them gifts. They get swag bags, they get t-shirts. We do tons of events, community service, extra photo shoots. So we're doing a lot. So I want them to be invested, and I want them to really to want to be there. But I don't like to turn people away. And I used to do that, and it hurt my heart. I didn't like to do that. That was when I had limited time. I used to teach full time and do this. And unfortunately, I had to kind of limit my clients and who I could spend that time on. Gratefully, I've grown, and this is 100% of what I would do, so I can take a bigger team. Again, that's kind of what your goal goes back to your goal. So I don't necessarily turn people down unless they are just someone that, like, their social media is not something that I would really want to represent, because my mission is spreading kindness and compassion and empathy throughout our community. We're a community service-based program. So if it's someone who's out there just really putting ugly things out there, then I would definitely think heavily about whether they would be accepted, or I might have a separate meeting with them and kind of talk and get a better feel for it, because they are representing my company and they're representing our mission, and they're all over my social media during the year and a half that they're with me. So I do take it into consideration. I feel like at this point I'm luckily attracting the people who have that same goal and they really know what it's about. So I haven't been put in that position, but I do consider it. So once they get there, another fun part of it is they get a graphic that says, I've been accepted as KBP ambassador, and they put them all over social media, and it's another great marketing, even for the ones who maybe don't want to be an ambassador, but they're still seeing and they're coming and connecting for their senior pictures later. So making it a big deal as well. Again, it's so fun. It's so exciting. The girls just get excited, and it's really fun to get to know them through that process. But it doesn't stop there. And one of the most important parts of the program is that you include the parents, because it's not a free program. They're all paying clients. And it's very important that the parents understand what their senior is committing to, and sorry, messing with my hair, and that they're full paying clients. And for me, that's really important. Again, ambassador programs can run the gamut of how you run them, and ambassador, spokesmodel, representatives, models, squads, and all these different names. And that's really, again, your personality. So it's really, really, really important that you communicate everything. I have the most success when I put everything out there. There's no surprises. And so what I have done is I used to, when I had a smaller team, met one-on-one with them, and that was fantastic. I loved that. I love that I could sit down and get to know them really closely. And my business has grown, and luckily my teams have grown, so I'm not able to sit down one-on-one with them for ambassador meetings, but they all get individual consults after that. So I do parent meetings. They are invited. The parents have to come. They have to have at least one parent or guardian, and they come and they put it all out there in one night. Well, we have a few meetings, but that way everyone knows what all the information is. So after all the excitement and the acceptance and everything, then we get down to business, and it is business. I love my program. It is the core of my business, but it's my business. And so they're all paying clients. They don't pay more to be on the team. Maybe this year I'm going to do a second level because I run a big fashion show, and when they have things invested, they hold them to high regard and they show up. But I'm still working on a few of the logistics for next year. But they come in and the parents are there, and we talk about the whole program. I answer questions, and then they book. And there are incentives. Again, I could talk for hours, but that is the next step. The next step is, once you've got them applied, get the parents on board. Make sure the parents understand. Make sure your program goal, what your expectations are out there for both the parents and the seniors. It's really, really important. It's something that over the years I've learned is extremely big part of it. And the moms and the dads are just as much ambassadors as the girls are. So, if they're excited, then they're out there, singing your name from the rooftops, and so are the girls. And those are the best ambassadors for referrals, spokesmodels, all of those things. So let me review real quick. So we have, make sure you have a plan, a goal. What is your purpose? Market, create excitement. Get your current team involved if you have one. If you don't, partner with businesses, partner with the schools, visit the schools, get into your community. And then interact, reach out, socialize, and create materials that they can tell them what you want them to do. Don't expect them to know how you want them to market. So again, I created graphics that they could share. And then get down to business, have your meetings, talk about what's involved. And the final thing is to wrap it up and finish with a great experience. So it is an experience. So everyone, ambassador programs, spokesmodel programs are not for everybody. They take extra work. It can range from having extra photo shoots to once a month meetings that you do, team building activities, to some people who they just are spokesmodels and they're only just referrals. So it's very personalized. You just, again, have to decide what you want. For me, I want to finish up with telling you a little bit about how mine works, what the experience is, and why I chose to call mine ambassadors. So for my experience, we start with a welcome party. Once everybody is signed on, we have who our team is for that year. The very first thing we do, and that happens in January and February. So in March, we have a welcome party. That's where the team gets to come together as a group with everyone. So there's girls from all over our county, our nearby county, private schools, public schools, homeschool, and they all get together and see, this is the team. We, I give them swag bags with t-shirts and chapstick and all kinds of fun stuff. I try to use local companies for treats, bakeries and things that they would be interested in maybe shopping at as well. So we get to know each other, and I don't do, some people will do like icebreakers and formal stuff. I don't necessarily do that. And that's just because I never liked that when I was in school. So I didn't want to do that, but some people love that, and it can be really fun. And I've seen some very successful ones where they do icebreakers and all that kind of thing. I incorporate my goal, which is community service and spreading kindness and compassion and empathy. So we will do a welcome party with some sort of kindness or give back activity. So this year we did, we made cookies. Everyone bought a dozen cookies, and we had boxes and paper and craft materials, and they created care package cookie boxes for our local fire stations. So it was so fun. We got down, you know, put all the cookies out, and I got the little, I think they're called gable boxes, and I got white ones so they could decorate them, and they drew these really super cute pictures and just really wonderful messages, and they wrote notes, and we did all that. So that helped us kind of get to know each other. And then everybody, each group, they did like groups of 3 or 4. So I had 33, so it was a big group this year. And then in groups of 3 or 4, they delivered them to their community fire stations, and it was so much fun. It was one of my favorite activities, and I think, you know, the girls really had a great time, and it was always nice to kind of give back into to our community as we're getting to know each other. So then we do a photo shoot, and every year it's been different. I've done styled photo shoots with Altered State. I have done a styled photo shoot where they brought the clothes. We did a 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s photo shoot a few years back. So I broke them into groups, and we had those eras. And then the last couple of years I've tried to do something that was a little bit more meaningful. So last year we did Project Beauty, which was all black and white, no hair and makeup, just all natural. And I really loved that had meaning behind it. And then I always kind of keep everything secret, so you'll have to follow along to see what this year's is. And that kind of starts our year off and gets everything. That's happening in March and April. And that's the time that their friends now are thinking, oh, who am I going to do for my senior pictures? So all of these events are creating buzz with their friends, and they're like, what are you doing with Christy Bradley? And oh, I want to do my senior pictures, and that creates that buzz for then. And again, it's different times of year. So again, I'm in Virginia. So for me, my season is May through November. Of where I'm shooting my seniors. So your timeline might be different based on where you live. I know there are photographers who are in Texas who have different timelines, or some who have like super short shooting timelines because they have really, really harsh winters, or super hot summers. So you have to kind of sit down and think about what your timeline is. For me, I searched November, December with them signing January, February, and then March we do welcome party, and March, April we do our first photo shoot. And that I do that because I want them to get to know me and want them to be able to say, I've already worked with Christy, because some of my ambassadors are not shooting their senior session until the end of summer or the fall, and so they need to know what it's like to work with me to tell people to come to me. So that's why I do that. The fun part is that by the time most of my ambassadors are getting their shoot, even if it's in May or June, we have already been to we've already met 2, 3, 4 times. So the initial model meeting, their individual consult, welcome party, first photo shoot, that's 4 meetings that we've already met. And when we're on the photo shoot, it's so comfortable. We already know each other. And it's just like hanging out. So I love that aspect of it, because it's just fun. And I'm just not someone that I haven't met, and we're trying to like break the ice. It's awesome, and I have such a good time with them. So that is part of the experience as well. Hopefully I'm not talking too long, and hopefully this is helpful for you guys. I'll wrap it up. We're saying, so we do most June, July, August through the fall, I'm shooting heavily. So that's my busy, busy season. I used to do a summer photo shoot. I'm not doing that because I just got too busy, and it was a really hard season for me to fit that in. I do try to get them in sometime in the summer. We do some sort of community service, backpack collection. We work with our local Target if I can. We got to get in early because those shopping trips we do, it's called the Backpack Buddies program, and they shop with kids at Target, and but those trips book up, so you've got to make sure you get in. Collecting school supplies in summer is a really great event. You can have an open house if you have a studio, or do a meet and greet at one of the local boutiques and have people donate backpacks and partner with them for a gift card or a giveaway. Those are all great ways to get that buzz going in the summer. And then in November, we always do a give back. We did blessing bag packings this year, and we also got supplies together for a community dinner for one of our local restaurants was hosting a free Thanksgiving dinner. So that was fun. And then in a couple days, we are doing our holiday photo shoot, and I always give them a little gift, and I totally forgot to bring it up, but I'll try to share it in the comments. But I purchased ornaments for them this year, and I got them from Miller's, and they're wonderful. They're very good quality. They feel really good. They were like $8 for each ornament. I did them in sets of 3 little Christmas trees. I have a picture, and I'm going to hang them on the tree when they come in for their photo shoot, and that will be a Christmas gift for them. So this is all things that add to that experience. I love it. It's something that I thoroughly enjoy, and I get all excited about everything that we do, so it works for me. And that's why you have to find out, what do you get excited about, because it's a lot of work, and if you aren't excited about it and you really don't believe in what you're doing, then it becomes unsuccessful, because you have to have, this is my opinion, but I've experienced that the more that your heart is in it and that you believe in it, then it's going to be successful. So all those things that we do, I really love doing, and I can't wait to do them, and I get excited about them. And so it seems to be working for me. So my ambassadors, and again, I call mine ambassadors. I changed it last year. They used to be spokesmodels, and I dropped that and changed it to ambassadors because of the model part of it. My program is very community service based with photo shoots, and we do a charity fashion show every year. And the model part of spokesmodel would kind of throw people off, and they would think it was actual modeling. And because it wasn't about modeling, and it wasn't only about how you look and only about pictures and imagery, I felt like that wasn't a good fit for my program. So I decided to change it to ambassadors, and I really like it so far. So that again is something that you kind of have to decide on what works for your program. There's tons of stuff out there: spokesmodels, ambassadors, representatives. Some people have names for their teams. I can name a bunch of them off. And it becomes very personalized, and it's like a group, a squad, or a what was the other one? It was so cute the other day. I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Pink Fly or Pink Owl, and she has flamingos, and it's just so cute. It just creates a buzz around this sorority type feeling of, what do these girls want to be a part of? So you gotta, create your own and decide what works for you, and what is what your program's about. So KBP Ambassadors is for me, and And my girls are with me from when they sign in January through the end of their senior year. So it's a year and a half. And we finish with a cap and gown and college t-shirt mini session. And they get to come in and we do, I let them bring a friend for a small fee and they get them for free. And that's kind of how we wrap everything up. But I love it. And I hope that sharing all of that has been helpful for you guys. I hope I didn't talk too fast. Again, I cannot stress enough just really personalizing your program. If it's something that you want to do, it's something that you have to believe in. It's not, if it is just that, you know, hey, I want this because I want to make money, sure, that's really important. You're a business. That's why our full paying clients. But I feel like with everything that they have options around them, having a purpose and some goal is going to attract like-minded people to you. So I feel like that was really important. But knowing what your mission is, knowing what your purpose is, and kind of what direction you want to go in before you start is very helpful. And just be yourself. And if you guys have questions, I can answer in the comments. I'll be checking back in over the next couple of days to see what kind of questions everyone has. And I hope it was super helpful. I love it. I love what I do. I will be glad to answer any questions for anyone who comes across them. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.